Hey YouTube, this is The Art of Prepping. We're talking about alternative energy sources today. This is going to be for an SHTF event, and you may need a power source eventually, especially after several days. Your cell phone may go dead. You may need to charge another device, and it could be even more than just a small device. You may need aerial lighting because of the type of emergency or whatnot. So in these events, we have let's just start out with the home. We have multiple options here, guys, and it's very interesting and very fun to talk about. So if you're in your home and you're sheltering in place, or maybe you're already at your bug out location, what kind of things would be good for those type of environments? Well, first of all, we have generators. Generators, they come in different sizes. They can be whole home systems. They could be also just enough to just power small devices. The smaller they go, typically the smaller the engine, therefore the less life you're going to have, because they're going to wear out fast. Just like a lawnmower engine, you can only get so many hundreds of hours out of them, maybe thousands of hours, and then they're going to just wear out. Also, you got to figure out how are you going to store the fuel. Depending on what kind of fuel source you get, it would be a lot more expensive to have to change out every 6 months to a year a large cache of fuel with like regular gas generators than it might be with maybe like a natural gas canister or type of generator. So you got to consider those kind of things. Fuel stabilizers also could add up over time, and just having to maintain that and having to deal with the testing it, because a lot of them recommend at least once a month to turn it on for 5 to 20 minutes and give it a little test and kind of keep it going. So you got generators. So you got natural gases, and you got petrol or just traditional fuels like gasoline and diesel. Wood fuels, a little bit more rare in a sense, but it's out there, and you could definitely do that. In biofuels. So that concludes the generators. Now the solar panel systems. It's one of those things also that there's going to be quite a bit of money up front. You not only have the panels, but the wiring harnesses. You got the controller, you got the inverter, and so forth and so forth. And especially if you're wanting to do a whole house system, something that could totally replace all the electrical needs in your home. For the average family of 4, it's going to be pretty much outrageous in cost. Even now, even though the process, the cost has gone down and the process has gotten actually a lot easier and simplified. Solar panels, it's kind of a mixed bag. It's cool, but and it definitely could help you, definitely long term. But it does have its limitations. Something that people don't talk about so much is the lifespan of most of the solar panels. They're around 20 years, and they really start to break down pretty fast between the 15 and 20 year mark. After 20 years, you're getting kind of a minimum low percentage of yield. So that's something to just kind of put in the back of your head. Just like solar, wind power is kind of determined on Mother Nature. Is the sun out? Is the wind out? If you do have a lot of sun and a lot of wind, these two options could be a thing. But with wind power, having a wind turbine, that just depends on your interest in that. And if you have enough wind to make it work, but these things are also going to require you to have a battery bank, just like a solar panel system. So once again, it's not going to be free. You're going to have to kind of work on this, but maybe having various sources, which I would recommend, 2 to 4 alternative sources in combination, may get your needs met long term. The next would be geothermal. You're starting to see this a lot more these days in the modern world. At least a lot more efficient means of harvesting the heat in the ground. And so what you have here is, in some areas it's a little bit harder to install these units because of the rock in the ground. Sometimes they just use surface types of systems. So depending on where you live, there's probably systems that could help you, and this is definitely something that could be used for the home. Steam power. Now this has been around for hundreds of years, but they're getting more efficient on how to use it and to use generate electricity. So you might want to recheck those systems out. You don't see a lot of them around. You still would have to have a lot of wood or another fuel source to even keep that water going to create the steam. So it's kind of a catch-20 on that one. Hydropower. Now this is another one, depending on where you live. Do you have water that's coming downstream or falling water? Do you have fast moving currents? If you don't have any water, bodies of water in your area, that's a problem. So you may want to scratch that one off your list. Now, the next 4 are very interesting. They're newer ones. Some of them have limited applications because they're only developed so far, and one of them, if not in particular, is going to be more in the beta stage. But I'd like to let you know about it. The first one is osmotic power. This process is also referred to as reverse electrodialysis. And it's basically when you add salt to fresh water, you get an electrical charge. And this device harnesses that charge and allows you to, charge a battery or whatnot. So that's very cool. It's basically, this is already in stores. It's been out for a couple years now, easily, maybe even 5 years or so. But only thing that I've seen it in is just smaller applications, like small battery chargers. And even then, it takes like 24 to 36 hours for like a set of AA or AAA batteries to charge. So they're not fast, but all you're using is just water and salt. The next is called helioculture. It uses photosynthesis, different types of bioorganisms, I think enzymes possibly, and some chemicals. So the use of the sun, and some green vegetation all mixed together. This is a little bit more, in depth and complicated. Probably not for the average person, but it produces ethanol or hydrocarbons. So that's pretty cool. You probably have to have a large field of that or a large production plant to really make that one worthwhile. But just to kind of note, though, in the future that they might be able to make that more efficient. So it could be a more option for us. The next one is piezoelectricity. It's the use of kinetic energy via human movement to create electrical current. So as you may have seen some panels that you can walk on, and just the walking motion, it captures that kinetic energy of movement and harnesses it into electrical field, creating it into a current. And so you can see these panels like in certain more modern malls and places like that. In the future, they could actually put panels like these piezoelectrical panels on your floor in your home, so as you move about, you actually generate a small current to help top off batteries and so forth. And the last one could be the most interesting, really. It's in the beta stage, but it's called evaporative energy. And they're basically, creating these synthetic leaves. I would imagine a whole tree full to make it worthwhile. And they put water droplets on the leaves. And as the water droplets evaporate from a fluid to a gas state, bam, there's a small electrical charge discharge from there. So that discharge from the evaporation, type of stage is actually able to provide a current that you can charge batteries, which is so cool. So that concludes the bug-in, or the shelter-in-place options. There might be a few more that you might want to look at, but other types of hand crank stuff. But that's kind of the main ones for most of this. Now, if you're going to be bugging out, or if you're, in terms of what could you put in your bug out bag or keep in your vehicle for a vehicle system for alternative power, you would have portable battery banks probably with a solar system, that you could attach to it to top them off. Basically, Goal Zero and Anker batteries, Anker spelled with A-N-K-E-R, they have great systems for this. They have a very, very large capacity, very small format batteries, very high-end, very cutting-edge stuff for not too much money. They can be expensive for the whole packages, but if you get the more mobile packages, they're very affordable. And so you can have these very large capacity batteries. Incredible amount of energy, many amps worth, and have the means to keep topping it off with your solar panel, which is very much a compact, foldable, type of layout. So that's one thing. You could also get an inverter to run off the battery of your vehicle. So that could be an emergency source of energy. Of course, once you run out of fuel for your vehicle, then you got a problem. But that's one option. And then a hand crank generator. It could just be one of those really, really small devices to kind of, you crank and you charge your phone or maybe your tablet or a small device like that. And some of them even have little lights on there. You can use it as a flashlight. A lot of weather radios nowadays have cranks on them that you can actually use to charge your phone, and there's a light on that as well. And so, that's another option. Lastly, you can just go with the old standby, have like a pouch full of alkaline batteries that fits your needs, AA, AAA, C batteries, D batteries, CR123As, and so forth. You could even have rechargeable batteries in there if you want to be more, cost conscious. But those are, the main options I would say for your for your bug out bag, or even your vehicle. So those are the options there for alternative energy sources for SHTF. I hope this helps a lot. I know there's a lot of misconceptions about stuff. I know I kind of went through it pretty fast, but just know though that just keep on looking until you find the things that satisfy your needs. That's the most important thing, is just to know what's out there first, and then figure out which one and what combination is going to work for your budget and for your skill set. And as always, thanks for watching.